Okay, so let us continue. So in the last what we have done so far is, oh sorry, okay, so we have done so far is we have completed this one single constructor. We have provided, we discussed about um, how this one single constructor, if it is available, how it is behaving, how super constructor call is behaving, and if it is not available, how it is behaving, and how to um, mm, how to resolve that error when we are getting that error, right? By there are two ways as we discussed. One is we provide that constructor which the super constructor call is making to, or we make the super constructor call in such a way that it is calling an available constructor, right? That is what we discussed. Now in our cylinder class we are going to provide the other constructors one by one, and we will make use of how to initialize radius. Okay, that was the problem we faced, right? Cylinder is taking this parameter called radius, right? And currently cylinder does not have any radius as a field. Okay, we have experimented with the idea of how cylinder is inheriting the radius field from circle. That we have already checked. When we are calling get radius method on cylinder object, then also we are able to get the radius value and print it. How? The radius is actually available in circle class only, but when we are trying to call get radius method from cylinder, somehow it is accessing the value of radius from circle object. Okay, which is part of the cylinder object. It is accessing it and it is printing it. Okay, so now what we are going to learn is how to initialize radius from cylinder. How to initialize radius. Okay, because we know that radius is a private field of circle, we cannot initialize directly from cylinder. There is a different way of doing that. Okay, so that is what we are going to see. So let me put it back here. Let me hide previous classes which currently we are not dealing with. Okay, and because now you understood, I am removing these comment lines. Okay, so the next constructor that we are dealing with is a constructor which is taking radius as a parameter, right? So as per the diagram, plus means public, right? So public cylinder. Okay, now there is another error that we must observe. Okay, here we are writing cylinder with no parameters. Here also we are writing cylinder with no parameters. Okay, and as per the rule, you should not have duplicate constructors. So it is telling the error is, sorry, the error is implicit super constructor circle with parenthesis is undefined. Okay, must explicitly invoke another constructor. Now this error is not related to the duplicates. This error is related to the idea that what is implicit super constructor circle? It is talking about circle with no parameters as a constructor, which we have seen here. In circle we have actually hidden that constructor. Okay, currently that constructor is not available. Okay, okay, so it is talking about that constructor. It is talking about that constructor. It is telling implicit right now. What is the meaning of implicit? Implicit means something which is automatically provided. Okay, implicit super constructor circle with no parameters is undefined. We know that it is undefined, we did not provide it. Okay, but when we provided it, it was accessing. That's fine. Now we are going to experiment one small thing before continuing with this constructor. For now let me delete it here. Okay, we are having two constructors. I'm going to hide all both the two constructors. Both constructors I'm hiding. Okay, and I'm going to enable this constructor. Once again, to enable it back, again control slash, it will be enabled. Okay, now this constructor is available. Okay, right? Now what I'm going to do here in cylinder constructor, just like previously, I'm not going to provide 10.0, let us say. Okay, if I'm providing 10.0, because this constructor now is hidden, double radius constructor is hidden, one parameter constructor, it is giving error. Okay, let us read that error. The constructor circle double is undefined. Right now, we know we have just hidden it. It is undefined, so it is giving that error. Okay, so I'm removing it. Okay, and it is accessing this constructor. Right, that is also straightforward as per our previous discussion. Clear, Gana? Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to hide this also. What may happen if I'm hiding it? Guess. What may happen? Error. Error in which class? Cylinder class. Let us try. I'm hiding this circle constructor also. Okay, and I'm going to save it because it is having the star. Okay, I'm saving it. Okay, and in cylinder class, okay, also I'm going to save it. After saving, I don't see any error. There is no error here. Okay, there is no error here. Why there is no error here? Okay, for that we have to understand that if okay, if no constructor is provided in a class, a default constructor will be provided automatically. Okay, a default constructor will be provided automatically. And what the default constructor looks like, let me show you how it looks like. Okay, default constructor looks like this: public class name parenthesis flower brackets. That's it. This is how your default constructor looks like. Okay, so in our case, class name is circle. Okay, so it will look like this. Okay, this is how it will look. If it is looking like this, then what is the meaning of that? What will be field values here? What values will be assigned to fields? What values are assigned to fields? What values will be assigned? Default values, right? Now, so radius is what? Radius is a double type, so its default value will be 0.0. Color is a string type, it is a reference type, and so its value will be null. Automatically 0.0 and null will be assigned to those two fields in this default constructor. Okay, when default constructor is provided, only when no constructor is provided in the class. If there is no constructor at all, like here we can see in our current class circle, we did not provide any constructor. This constructor is hidden, this constructor is hidden, this constructor is also hidden. All three constructors are hidden. There is no constructor available in the class, and in such a case this default constructor will be provided, and in this default constructor default values are assigned. Default values are assigned to fields, right? Is this clear? Idea clear? Idea clear? Okay, so now here in this subclass cylinder class, let me save my circle class. Okay, in cylinder class when it is calling super with parenthesis, which is a super constructor call, okay, it will try to call this default constructor, which developer is not providing. We did not provide any such constructor. It will be automatically provided. That means it is already available in that circle class. In the super class, it is already available right now. So when this super constructor is called, it will call the default constructor and initialize the fields of circle with default values. Clear? Understood? Okay. So let us just test it. I'm going to circle tester. And here anyway, we are using this constructor cylinder with no arguments. Cylinder with no arguments. It is internally calling super constructor call, which will call default constructor, right? So let me write it here. Calls default constructor of superclass, right? It will call default constructor of superclass. Okay, and we know that default constructor will initialize fields with default values, right? So here let us change the expected results, right? Here radius value will be how much? 0.0, right? Okay, and color is anyway null only. What will be height value? 1.0 only, right? Okay, only super class fields will be assigned to default values because there is no constructor provided by developer. It will be provided with default constructor only in circle class, which is super class. In cylinder class, we already have our own constructor, okay, which is assigning height equal to 1.0. Clear, right? Let us test it. I'm saving it. Let's run. Okay, it is cylinder is not saved. I'm clicking OK. Yes, see, radius is 0, color is null, height is 1. Clear? And as along with that, area is volume is also 0 because radius is 0. No doubts? Try it.